Hello and welcome to News Central TV. I am Chiwete Onyema. First, the top stories this hour. Suspended Rivers Governor Siminalayi Fubara urges supporters to accept peace deal. Serap demands transparency and spending of security votes by state governors. Niger's military government launches open session of Consultative Council for National Refoundation. Details shortly. We begin in Rivers State, where the suspended governor Siminalayi Fubara is calling on his supporters to accept a peace deal brokered between himself and the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike. Speaking in Port Harcourt after a public outing alongside the minister, Governor Fubara acknowledged the deep disappointment and anxiety felt by many of his loyalists, but emphasized, in his words, difficult times call for tough decisions and concessions. Fubara openly recognized Wike's critical role in his political rise, stating that the minister's influence in his emergence as governor cannot be wished away. He went on to reveal that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu personally intervened in the dispute, issuing a direct mandate for reconciliation between both men described by many as political godfather and protege for the sake of peace and stability in Rivers State.
We have fought. I think in my own assessment and in the assessment of anyone that is here, will genuinely, if you're genuine in this struggle, you will know that we have done what we need to do. At this point, if you want to be truthful to yourself, not lying to yourself, the only solution is peace. I did say that there is no price that is too big to pay for peace. I meant it, and I am still ready to follow it to the end. Nobody can take away the role by that plate. That's the truth. Yeah, we have our differences that led to this, but nobody here will say he doesn't know the role the man played. Nobody will say he doesn't. Nobody can whisk away the risks he took. Yes, at the point we had our differences, and if today there is need for us to settle, please, anyone who genuinely believe in me should understand that it is right thing to do. Look at the projects that we initiated. Big road has been abandoned. Look at other things that we initiated. Without this crisis, by now I know where we have been. We know the progress we have recorded. We know areas that would have developed these things better than what it is today. So there is need for this peace. That is the truth. Like I said, it's silly, it's bitter, but we must accept the situation and move on with it.
Meanwhile, governors elected on the platform of the All Progressives Congress have reaffirmed their commitment to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. This comes as the Progressive Governors Forum wrapped up a two-day strategic meeting in Benin City, the Edo State capital, hosted by Governor Monday Opebolo. News Central's lead correspondent Bernard Akede reports.
Benin City played host to 15 APC governors over the weekend as members of the Progressive Governors Forum gathered for a crucial two-day regional meeting. The meeting, presided over by the PGF's chairman and governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, focused on reviewing the party's progress, national challenges, and strengthening coordination between federal and state institutions. After a closed-door session, the governors issued a communique expressing satisfaction with gains recorded under the Renewed Hope agenda, citing improvements in physical reforms, food security, energy transformation, infrastructure development, and revitalization of key social sectors.
The strategic engagement provided an opportunity for deep reflection on the nation's socio-economic direction, a reassessment of the subnational role in national transformation, and an affirmation of the forum's commitment to the renewed hope agenda of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR.
They emphasized the need to deepen economic recovery through targeted investments in agriculture, job creation, MSME support, and social safety programs. The forum also commended security agencies for their continued effort in protecting lives and property while extending condolences to victims of recent violence in Benue and Niger states. In a show of party unity, the governors welcomed the recent wave of high-profile defections into the APC, describing it as a vote of confidence in the party's leadership and direction.
The forum formally welcomed His Excellency Pastor Umo Eno, the governor of Akwa Ibom State, to the forum. In his decision, along with the teeming supporters from his state, reflect the growing national consensus on the transformative policies being executed under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda.
On the recent resignation of the party's national chairman, Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, the governors described it as a sign of the APC's institutional maturity and capacity for internal reform. A moment of solemnity was observed with the announcement of the passing of elder statesman Alhaji Aminu Dantata from Kano State.
The PGF acknowledged the resignation of the national chairman of our great party, His Excellency Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, in tandem with the party's continued evolution. The PGF reaffirmed its unshakable belief in a united, just, and prosperous Nigeria. It's committed to working collaboratively to deliver bold reforms, strengthen institutional trust, and accelerate socio-economic development across all geopolitical zones.
The APC governors later paid a courtesy visit to the Oba of Benin in a symbolic nod to traditional institutions and their role in national unity. The two-day gathering culminated in a grand reception hosted by Governor Okpebholo, attended by top party leaders and dignitaries from across the country.
We have a capacity working president. He has embarked on critical reforms for this country, Nigeria.
The Progressive Governors Forum says it remains resolute in supporting President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the nation works towards a more secure, inclusive, and prosperous future. In Benin City for News Central, Bernard Akede.
We now go back to the Wike Fubara story as Dr. Ibituru Pepple joins me now for more on how the people of the Niger Delta region are reacting to the peace deal. Dr. Pepple is a lecturer at the Federal University, Otueke, Bayelsa State. Dr. Pepple, you are welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. All right, let's tell us, how are the people receiving the peace deal between Governor Fubara and Minister Wike? Are they looking at it as a step forward or a compromise of political integrity?
Yeah, I think, excuse me, it's a misreaction. Some persons are happy while some others are not unhappy. Now, from the former angle, the question is, what kind of reconciliation his own members, the simplified group, are not carried along? It is only that of Wike that is being negotiated for. Looking at it from there, the things will come from the social media of which they said are the conditions that you are given. I think doesn't favor the former group, that is simplified family. So it's quite unfortunate that Rivers people are wondering, can this governor come back and be able to, work as he started with? That is the dividends of democracy that the people should enjoy. Will they actually enjoy it? Can he focus on projects and people-oriented projects that he has started in Rivers State now that he has reconciled with his godfather? And of course, we know that what caused the rift is more of the Rivers pulse. Can he now walk? That's the question. So many questions in the minds of Rivers people. Rivers people are asking questions. is this deal the right deal? Should we expect something different? Of course, from around Fubara, the strong men is said to have been removed. If that is true, then it means that the hands of the governor have been tied. And when your hands are tied, it means you cannot perform. And that is the situation right now on ground.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Peppel. But talk to me. What impact do you think this reconciliation will have, especially in politics and governance in Rivers State?
Now, if you got my analogy at the first instance, I said it's a misreaction. It then means that there will be that cold feet, because you see a situation where the whole assembly is from the minister of the FCT, and then you find out again that the entire, what do they call it, structure now has gone to a particular place. The 23 local government chairmen will be from one person. How would then the governor perform? And so projects, infrastructures, things in River State, I think will suffer a setback. And people are not happy with it. You go every quarter, you move to people are talking about this deal. It is not a balanced deal. It's a one-sided deal, just like the previous one. And then you ask, what do we expect next? It's a very big question.
Okay, so we understand Wike's influence, especially in the state's political landscape. Do you believe that this peace deal will strengthen, or do you think it will weaken democratic governance in Rivers State?
Of course, it will weaken it. It will weaken it because the governor is coming there, not exercising his full as a governor. And then you see that the government in Rivers State will be controlled from city. And so the coming days, more things will be exposed and so on. But I don't think that the governor, Sifumaya, can actually operate with full power as a governor, as an executive governor. I don't think so, because everything has been compromised. It means that the allocation to every other thing, political positions, and everything will be lopsided.
Now in your words, you said everything has been compromised. So what do you think? How should we look at things now, knowing that Fubara has acknowledged Wike's role in his emergence? Do you think this undermines his authority as a governor, and also do you think this affects his political stability?
Of course, going by all that he has been told, that you read on the social media, he will have to leave all the structure, he has to forget about going for 2027, and so many things. It has undermined his political integrity, because people who look up to him, people who have supported him, so many of them will be stranded. All that will come from above. You want to do anything, it has to be approved, not by the sitting governor, but a pseudo governor. So how then do we progress when, of course, it is clear in Rivers State there is a pseudo government with this arrangement? So the pseudo government will take charge and then give directives. His own will just be there to just implement. And that's so sad. And that's so bad for our democracy. So
Dr. Peppel, tell us, how does your organization now plan to engage with the government moving forward, especially under this renewed alliance?
Which organization are you talking about? Because when my organization, I'm only giving you the simplified family. I'm political right here. I'm not talking as somebody that is for a particular group. No. I'm political. Yes, I have sympathy for the simplified movement. Of course, I'm an Epaniman from Rivers State. So if you look at it, it is natural I will have that feeling and compassion for my kinsman. But the truth of the matter is that things have fallen apart at the center who had evil.
I must say many thanks to you, Dr. Pepple, for joining us. Thank you so much for your input on this. Moving on now, we will be joined by Biola. He's, of course, he's going to be talking about the Fubara Wike peace deal, the reconciliation, of course, between the suspended governor, Siminalayi Fubara, and the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike. Biola is... Hello, Biola, can you hear me? Between the suspended governor, Siminalayi Fubara, and the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, is resonating with many in Rivers State. For the Rivers Women Unite for SIM, a pro-Fubara group, it is a prayer answered. Hence, the women are currently having a Thanksgiving program in appreciation of the return of peace to the state. Rivers Women Unit for SIM group stood out for their persistence in the demand for the return of democratic rule in Rivers State since the declaration of emergence rule in the state on the 18th of March 2025. News Central's Biola Festus is on standby at the women's gathering. She joins us live now. Hello, Biola.
Hello.
All right. What updates do you have for us? What updates do you have for us at the moment?
The Women Unite group for SIM have been so vocal in their demands for the return of democratic rule in Rivers State. In fact, they have been so consistent about it. They've made their pleas, they've protested, they've been peaceful about it. They've gone all the way out to ensure that the governor is reinstated. So hearing the news about the reconciliation moves between the FCT minister and the suspended governor, to them, they feel like all they've been doing is actually paying off. So today they are gathered to thank God, because they said the legal means and every other means must have failed, even political will must have failed. But right now, they've channeled all their requests to God. And today they are gathered to go back to the same God to say thank you for the peace, because they are optimistic that with this peace move, the governor will be restored in no distant time. I have one of them here who will be telling us how this peace move comes to this women group.
The inception of this problem in River State, which are women. When things like this happen, it's women that they are the brunt of the problem. So they are our sons. Please do this. Go to God in prayer. But we have been fasting, we have pleaded, we have been prosecuted, we have done everything humanly possible. But in all, we channel all our prayer requests to God Almighty to restore peace in River State. River State has been known as a peaceful state. All over the nation, River State has been known as a peaceful state, and will remain a peace and food. Henceforth, so far so good. The God Almighty has answered our prayer by restoring peace to River State. That thing that looks impossible with man, God has made it possible. And because this peace has returned, the reconciliation has been achieved. We pray that because God's hand is in this program, it shall be permanent. This reconciliation shall be permanent. There will be no problem anymore from that henceforth. That we have started ab initio with peace, prayer, and God has finally answered us. Today, it has been made permanent.
Okay, thank you, Mommy. So let me ask you, Mama, how are you anticipating the return of the governor now that this Bible says, of course, we have been following the view and the governor. And 2 days ago, we made their first appearance together after the conversation. So, we are glad that these two giants of River State
Many thanks, Biola Festus, for that update. Moving on now, the presidency on Saturday night said former Benue State Governor George Akume remained the secretary to the government of the Federation. There had been reports that Akume stepped down as the SGF to become the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, the APC. However, in a statement, presidential spokesman Bayo Ononuga said there has been no change in the status of Akume. He said the information circulating about Akume's replacement is untrue, adding that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is currently in St. Lucia and has not made any new appointments. We'll take a quick break now. When we come back, there's more. Many thanks for joining us. Moving on, Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa has inaugurated Student Against Violent Extremism during the multi-sector conference in Maiduguri, designed to engage young scholars in the fight against extremist ideologies circulating in the Northeast. Speaking to multi-stakeholders from the students, the military, the civil society organizations, and the community leaders, General Musa emphasized that youth-led initiatives are essential in reshaping community narratives as well as ensuring peace. News Central's Umaru Kirawa completes the report.
The echoes of the conflict in Nigeria's northeast is gradually fading away, with communities being resettled to pick up the pieces of their lives. A newly formed group, Student Against Violent Extremism, an initiative that seeks to persuade individuals against terrorism and radicalization, here being inaugurated by Nigeria's Chief of Defense.
The non-kinetic effort does a lot, and youths play a major role in that non-kinetic effort. And that's why we have this event today, to be able to bring out the youth. And you can see the groups that have been formed. They will go around because they are also meeting together with their fellow youths and be able to talk to them on the issue of all of them not agreeing anybody to radicalize them, for them to support the security forces, for them to do things right so that Nigeria can be better.
The only thing I want the Nigerian society to know is that terrorism is like cancer. It regenerates. So we must get to the root and cut it off before it will end.
This initiative and also brought the civil societies and also the youth, Borno Youth Parliaments on board so that we can work hand in hand together to see that at least we have play critical roles also to not to allow just the federal and the state governments to just do it alone.
Focused on building resilience against violent extremism through youth engagement, stakeholders called on Nigerian youth to embrace peace building through education.
As for us from the Youth Assembly of Nigeria, we are engaging the community leaders and traditional leaders in the community to see that we sensitize the young people in peace bringing in our communities.
The youths are leaders of the tomorrow. They are the ones to shape the community in the near future. So imbibing this kind of character in them now, it will going to actually help in having a robust and one community in the society.
I must say that this is a very good initiative, and from our side, we will take this up, we'll take it very serious, and we will wish that the Chief of Defense Staff, alongside with some of the security advisors from Northeast region, will intensify and domesticate this across all the region.
The persuasive means of encouraging the surrender of terrorists has led to over 300,000 voluntarily surrendering. What remains now is for the government to ensure extremism of any form is minimized to its lowest ebb. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Still on security, the Northern Elders Forum NEF has called on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to declare a state of emergency in the northern part of Nigeria over the unabating insecurity challenges, as it condemned the killing of over 20 soldiers in Bangi Mariga local government area of Niger State. In a statement signed by the spokesperson of NEF, Professor Abubakar Jidere, the NEF expressed pain over the brutal killing of the soldiers in an ambush by terrorists in the area and described it as a total collapse of security in northern Nigeria. Jidere said the boldness demonstrated by the terrorists is an indication of a declaration of war against Nigeria, and added that northern Nigeria is under siege. NEF insists that Nigerians deserve visible, aggressive, and accountable action against non-state actors. All right, now Abubakar Ismail joins me live from Sokoto for more on insecurity in the north. Abubakar, thank you for joining. Can you hear me? All right, Abubakar, if you can hear me, tell us what are the possible implications of declaring a state of emergency in northern Nigeria on governance and civil liberties, and also economic activity in the region? All right. Sadly, we cannot connect with Abubakar at this point. But let's move on now. Still on security matters, a daring petroleum tanker hijacking syndicate has been dismantled with 7 suspects arrested by the Lagos State Police in Ejigbo early on Saturday morning, on June 28. News Central's Igbalani Omoni has the details.
In the early hours of Saturday, the Lagos State Police Command apprehended 7 individuals suspected of hijacking a petroleum tanker. The breakthrough came soon after the truck driver reported the crime at the Surulere police station.
As he collect the way before the driver have to come down to go and claim the way be from them. The next thing where I go here, because we are inside motor, we be 2 motor boy. And the second motor boy, me I don't date that motor, 30. But that motor boy, na new boy. Na first trip we go follow us be that. The way the Navy can say, okay, all 2 people were there inside motor, may they come down. The next thing they carry slab give us, drag us inside the car. Small car like this, they drag us inside.
After they hijacked the vehicle, they brought it here, dropped the contents here, then took the tanker to Orile, dropped it off. Then in the early hours of this morning, they came with their own tanker to lift the PMS that they earlier dropped here. So we caught them right in the act. We've arrested 7 suspects. Investigation is progressing.
The stolen product, approximately 45,000 litres, was traced to the tank on site. Within 12 hours of the complaint, the suspects were cornered at the abandoned station in possession of pumping machinery and firearms, suggesting organized operations.
Our preliminary investigation so far shows that this is a filling station that is not in use. So we are continuing with our investigation. Do not forget that this happened just this morning. As investigation progresses, we'll update Lagosians accordingly. So we also want to establish if the owner of the filling station is in on this, if he actually gave it out for such criminal activities. So when we discover that, we will let you know. For now, it appears to be an abandoned station that is being used in the middle of the night before daybreak by criminal elements.
So what happened to the content you have discovered?
Oh, for now, it's an exhibit to aid our investigation. And once investigation is concluded, the rightful owner, of course, would take back his property.
Meanwhile, investigations continue into how the syndicate sourced the underground tank and the full chain of conspirators.
The Commissioner of Police, Lagos State Command, CP Musa Jimoh, upon hearing of this case, gave direct instructions that all of the other suspects should be rounded up, and the investigation should be swiftly concluded.
The arrest of the suspect and recovery of the stolen product are expected to bring relief to residents and businesses in the area. In Lagos, for News Central, Igbalani Omoni.
From Lagos, we now move to Zamfara State. Now, what was once a routine journey has now become a dangerous gamble, where traveling home means risking your life. In this report, News Central looks into how commuters are routinely stranded on the road to Dansadao, a 109-kilometer stretch now under the control of armed bandits, crippling transport and commerce in the area. Motorists say the journey, which should take just 3 hours, now leaves drivers and passengers stranded for days, forced to sleep in unsafe motor parks while awaiting a military escort. News Central's Jamil Mabey reports.
This is where the journey ends tonight. For Mandi and his passengers, the Zamfara Motor Park has become a temporary shelter. Mandi, a father of 18, has driven this route for over 4 decades. He knows the terrain, but these days, even he is afraid.
To, dalilin abin da yasa ban je gida ba saboda hanyar barayi na tare ta. Tun daga ruwan kunku ba za a ka shiga wannan hanyar zuwa dan sado saboda barayi. Kuma sai an samu escort na sojoji sannan ake shiga. Su za su muku escort zuwa dan sado. Amma in babu su babu yadda za a ka shiga dan sado. Ba da za a ka tai. Dole kai hankuri sai wannan lokaci na escort na sojoji sun zo sun taimaka mana sun hishe mu.
The road to Dan Sadao is just 109 kilometers, but due to persistent insecurity, a journey that once took hours now stretches into days, and sometimes longer. Dan Sadao is located in Maru local government area of Zamfara state. The roads leading there are infested with bandits. Over time, traveling this route without military escort has become almost suicidal.
Saboda akwai gurare da dama wayanda da ka kai wurin kana cikin tashi hankali. Yanzu barayi suna iya yi maka bul ko a kame ku a yi daji da ku ko a sa bindiga a halbe ku ko mutunan su ta ku su bar su nan wurin.
Just recently, Suleiman Dan Saido and his passengers narrowly escaped an attack while heading to the community.
Ina kaiwa mashayan zaki kawai sai barayin nan suka fito man. Kawai suka fito man. Fito man da suka yi ban tsaya ba. Sai suka bi ni da halbi. Suka bude man wuta. Allah ya kaddarta ba a samu kowa a cikin motata ba. Kuma ni ba a same ni ba. Warawan nan da ya halban sai da muka hada ido da shi. Ya kallan ni kalle ya daga bindiga ya halbo. Ta zo nan tukko majinginar kujera ta binan ta heta ta gilas din gaba. Da Allah ya kaddarce ya same ni kai na zai wace. To Allah bai bashi iko ba. Na yi gangara ashe akwai wasu gaba. Su ma suka bude man wuta ta gaba. Sai dai suka halbe gaban mota kawai ba wanda aka samu. Kowane je dan sado na tsaya duk kwarorin bullet din ga sunan kasan mota waɗanda suka halbe ne da su.
Passengers are now forced to sleep in harsh, unsafe conditions, waiting endlessly for the next available convoy.
Ana tunanin a ce abinci in ci abinci tun da sahi yanzu gashi har kuna musan karfe 11 na dare ban ci abinci ba sai dai ruwa in na sha ba da tunanin haka nan. Ka taho daga gida ka zo ka abin nan ka zo ka samu kwanan da ya kai 3 ko 4 baka tashi ba kuma baka da kuɗi baka san kowa ba ka ga wannan akwai tashin hankali mutum tunani ma yana iya in ba ya kawo ba ya sa shi cikin wani ruduwa.
Transport business along this route has collapsed. What used to be a 3-hour trip now turns into a 2 to 3 day ordeal on the road. For people like Osmanu, each delay in reaching their destination is more than just an inconvenience. It's a fight for survival. This is the grim reality in Zamfara, where insecurity has turned everyday travel into a gamble with life. In Zamfara for News Central, I am Jamil Mabai.
All right, moving on now, we go to custom issues. Let's also tell you that the World Customs Organization, the WCO Council, has elected Nigeria's customs boss, Bashir Adewale Adeniyi, as the chairperson of the WCO Council, the highest decision-making body in global customs administration. This election was done at the concluding session of the 145th and 146th WCO Council meetings held at the WCO headquarters in Brussels. CGC Adeniyi succeeds Edward Kesweta, Commissioner of the South African Revenue Service, and becomes the first Nigerian to occupy the office since the WCO's establishment. Reacting to the appointment, CGC Adeniyi expressed profound appreciation to the council members for the confidence reposed in his leadership, describing the moment as both humbling and historic for Nigeria and the African customs community at large. All right, Abubakar Ismail, we can now join up with Abubakar Ismail right now. Abubakar, can you hear me clearly? Abubakar, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
All right, Abubakar, tell us, what are the possible implications of declaring a state of emergency in northern Nigeria on governance, on civil liberties, and even economic activity in the region?
There are actually a lot of implications if the government will impose state of emergency actually in northern Nigeria, considering how the region is being affected economically, and from all indications, there are allegations where even the military are extorting locals and civilians in some certain rural areas. And then if we go back by the history, back then in 2021, there are a declaration of containment orders in the state of Katsina and Zamfara, where we have seen a lot of reports of how the militaries in collaboration with police also are extorting civilians. So the implication is if a state of emergency is being declared, some of the governors may be rendered useless. And then, in terms of democracy, a lot of things where we have not been expecting, we will surely see them. Although what we are advocating, a lot of people have been advocating that the state of emergency should be declared. But when we look at the negative impact of state of emergencies in some states, we will not advise to do well into state of emergency, but it does as much as it can to strengthen the security, to rebuild a mechanism that will change the security architecture by empowering state police and other security parastatals in the region. But state of emergency cannot be a solution, considering what is on ground and the allegations on the security agencies in the region.
All right, so most times when it comes to terrorism, we see that, or we hear that the government is, doing a lot when it comes to counter-terrorism. But tell us, how do you think the killing of over 20 soldiers in Niger State reflects this? What does it say about the efforts the government is putting in when it comes to counter-terrorism?
Well, when we talk about the government putting efforts to counter terrorism in northern Nigeria, I may say the government is just sometimes not matching up to its word, because when we look at how the insecurity is going and it's growing, because considering some locations, these terrorists have their hideouts, have their camp known, the military or the security agencies sometimes fail to even launch attacks directly on those terrorists. But when you see the terrorists attacking military, then you will know that there is actually a sabotage from even the security agencies themselves. But what we tend to know and tend to understand is actually proving a weak on the security agencies for untrained terrorists to attack a trained soldiers. It actually proves that there are deficiencies in arms supply for these security agencies, and also the allegations of the cut-off supply of the arms, and then the allegations of holding their allowances by not paying them. It actually demoralized the security agencies to do what is being done, and then it also proved there is a weak in intelligence gathering. So I think for attacking and killing our soldiers, it shows that the government and the security agencies have more to do. And then for the known bandits, we shouldn't be trying to grant amnesty to somebody who has been killing people, who has been even saying before even the government or security agencies that they are going to launch more attacks if their demands are not being paid, which we know is granting them amnesty. It's not all of them that actually surrender their arms, and even the money given to the bandits or the terrorists in the name of granting them amnesty or peace deal.
All right, Abubakar, we're really pressed for time, but before I let you go, let me just ask you this question. What are the underlying factors contributing to the boldness? Why are these terrorist groups getting stronger and even more confident in northern Nigeria?
Well, I think, this terrorism or banditry is one of the most organized crime in northern Nigeria, because there are a lot of people into the crime while they are yet to be flushed out. And even I can say the judiciary is also weak. We've seen a lot of arrests, and we've seen after the arrest, after the police parade, and you see same terrorists. And we've seen terrorists who have been killing people, been granted amnesty. I think this is the major issue. If today no terrorist will be granted amnesty, then tomorrow another terrorist will emerge. I think this is actually the major issue. And the money they are getting from ransom as ransom is also helping them and supporting them in securing more arms to terrorize more people and commit more atrocities.
All right. Thank you so much, Abubakar, for engaging us with that conversation. Death toll from car stampede during exams revised to 20. We'll be giving you details about this and more after this. In Nigeria, the military-led government has officially launched the first session of the Consultative Council for National Refoundation, CCR, on Saturday. The newly formed council is tasked with providing advisory opinions to the junta following the country's July 2023 coup. The CCR replaces the National Assembly, which was dissolved after the coup, marking a significant shift in the country's political landscape. The death toll from the tragic stampede during high school exams in the Central African Republic has been revised. Authorities confirmed on Saturday that 20 people lost their lives, down from the earlier count of 29. The incident occurred on Wednesday afternoon at Barthélemy Boganda High School in Bangui when a power transformer exploded, triggering panic among the students. At the time, approximately 5,300 pupils were sitting for the second day of their baccalaureate exams. Communications Minister Maxime Balalu confirmed that 20 young lives have been lost, with the victims now in various morgues. He also reported that 65 students remain in hospital, with 4 in critical condition. Now, sports officials from Abakaliki FC were involved in a road accident while traveling home after the team's defeat to Kwara United. The accident occurred along the Ore route as the club officials were returning to Ebonyi State. Fortunately, no lives were lost in the incident, according to reports. Abakaliki FC reached the finals of the 2026 Presidential Federation Cup before the recent loss to Kwara United. The club officials were making a journey back to their home state when the accident happened. The details about the extent of injuries or damage from the crash have not yet been released. Rivers Angels came from 2 goals down to defeat Nasarawa Amazons 4-2 on penalties after a 2-2 draw in regulation time, winning the 2025 President Federation Cup on Saturday in Lagos. The victory at the Mobolaji Johnson Arena marks the Port Harcourt club's record 10th title in the competition's history. Nasarawa Amazons led 2-0 at halftime, with Olushola Shibowale scoring twice early, but Rivers Angels responded with 2 goals from Taiwo Ajibade and Taiwo Afolabi in the second half. With no extra time played, the game proceeded directly to penalties. Rivers Angels converted 4 spot kicks to Nasarawa's 2, sealing a dramatic comeback and reinforcing their status in Nigeria's women's football club. That's all at this hour, but before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. Suspended Rivers Governor Siminalayi Fubara urges supporters to accept peace deal. Northern Elders Forum NEF calls on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to declare a state of emergency in northern Nigeria over the unabating insecurity. We also told you that Niger's military government has launched open session of Consultative Council for National Refoundation. Remember, you may send your eyewitness reports to the WhatsApp number on your screen. Do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, and StarTimes channels 274. We're also on AVO TV and on YouTube. Many thanks for joining and thanks for watching. I am Chiwete Onyema.